1800. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content this morning, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. Repeat offender, Brent Humpherys. Humpherys Homes, easy for me to say. Humpherys Homes and Estates. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. Patrick Vandenbosch, VDB Associates. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Ron. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it. Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Got a lot going on today. Obviously, a historic day if you've been watching the news. The end of the halt on nuclear arms. I guess we're back in a nuclear arms race. The president is getting us into that deal. Interesting story. 4 presidents have tried to get Iran to go for a nuclear arms deal. We finally got one that could capitulate, give in to everything that Iran wanted, everything Iran asked for, get nothing in return. And now he's out on the trail to sell that to the American people. Just a few pieces of the information that the president did share with us today. 24/7 inspections. Now, you know what 24/7 inspections means to our president? Well, you give Iran an application to inspect. You wait 7 days for them to develop a panel for that inspection. Then Iran gets 14 more days to study the application. And if they come back with a no vote, then they get 3 more days after that. So I think 24/7 probably means you got to wait 24 days to wait for the inspections. Unbelievable. There's no mention in this historic deal about inspection of military bases. We can't do that. There is no deterrent on intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's not part of it. Well, welcome to the Kerry and Obama world. Now, the reason I say that it's going to open up a nuclear arms race, and obviously there might be some defense contractors outside the U.S. that are going to do well under this agreement. Here's the issue. If Iran is allowed to get a nuclear weapon, and this basically opens the door for them to do that, do you think that Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, or any of these other countries going to stand by and just watch? Or do they want one too? Unbelievable. Yet, we will see. It'll be interesting to see what some of the commentary comes back with after the Congress. Now, Congress, because they couldn't get this done before the 9th of July, now the Congress, instead of having 30 days to reject this deal, now Congress has 60 days, which even that, strategically, the president did not get done correctly. Let me explain. If it was done in 30 days, if the Congress only had 30 days to reject the deal, that would put them, we know Congress waits to the last second for everything. The president has already said that if Congress rejects this, he will veto their rejection, so they need to get that 67 senator override. But that would have, the 30-day transaction would have put them right square in the middle of vacation time. And you know that Congress won't do anything during their vacation. Just the way it is in Congress. And now we've got 60 days to deal with this. And Congress has to go home to their constituents and hear what their constituents have to say about this. Now, if it was a good deal, we know our president well enough now after all these years. If this was a good deal, there would have been a prime time press conference out in the Rose Garden. Kind of like when he traded the traitor for 5 terrorists, right? Bergdahl for the 5 terrorists out of Gitmo. Prime time Rose Garden. Well, this one, the president came out in the wee hours of the morning when even the East Coast was asleep to talk about this one. Unbelievable. Now, I do understand one reason, though, and some people will understand this with me. I understand the reason that they've got this 24/7, according to the president, this 24/7 waiting period. Gives them a little more time to golf while they wait for the inspections to take place. Well, I guess I better get off my soapbox and move on. Unbelievable. Not some great, well, I guess if we're talking about Iran, maybe we're not talking about the news that came out from our federal government today about our economy. Yeah, Labor Department reports export prices slumped 0.2% in June compared to an expected 0.1% tick higher. Import prices also fell 0.1% during the month compared to a forecasted 0.1% pickup. Commerce Department gave us their report. Retail sales fell 0.3% in June. Wall Street was expecting that'd be an uptick there of 0.2% for the month. Get rid of the auto component sales, climbed 0.1%, also missing expectations. And with all of that wonderful news of all those missing expectations, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up again this morning. Well, you know, if you've been listening to Ron Siegel Radio on a regular basis, why the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up. Contrary to what Janet Yellen has been telling us, the more bad news that comes from these different reports, the lower the likelihood will be that we'll see a Fed funds rate increase this year. I know she says that it's going to happen in 2015, but if we could turn back the clock, was it Back to the Future or something, a movie like that? Yeah, 2013, they said the exact same thing, that rates are going to increase by the end of the year. And here we are, still waiting. Nothing has changed. I suggest to you, I've been telling you this right along, interest rates will be going down. I forecast the 10-year Treasury going back down to 1.5. I've been sharing that with you. It's down a little bit today. It's yielding 2.40. But again, it doesn't matter if you're looking at real estate, if you're looking at your family's financial status. I've said this before, don't worry about where interest rates are today or where they are tomorrow. Worry about where they are today. Take action today. If they go down, as I suspect, you'll have plenty of time to restructure any loans that you do. Just one man's opinion. Obviously, our new segment that we've been starting to bring to you, Ask Your Advocate. Ironically enough, our crack team in the brain room has put this together, and Brent thought about this while I was driving. He must have been reading my notes or something. But we were going to talk about the concept of misconception today, and reports that are coming out that are giving us the story of what people think they need to do in order to get a new home and what reality is. So here's what people think. 2/3, this is an Ipsos survey, 2/3 of those surveyed believe they need a very good credit score to buy a home. 45% define a good credit score is over 780. Consumers also overestimate the down payment funds needed to qualify for a home loan. 36% think a 20% down payment is always required. Hate when people use that word always. It always causes problems is what it does. So here's the actual numbers according to RealtyTrack. The share of low down payment loans are increasing. In January, now the way they define at RealtyTrack, low down payment loans is 3% or less of a down payment. 26% in January bought homes with 3% or less. February, 27%, and 29% of the homes purchased in March used 3% or less as a down payment. Talk about reality and perception. So that's where we're talking about here. By loan type, conventional loans 11% did 3% or less down. FHA 83%. Think about those numbers if you're thinking about buying a house. Obviously, if it's 3% or less on an FHA loan, they are dealing with some sort of down payment assistance programs as well. Average FICO score on approved loans, FHA 688. Conventional loans 757. That's according to Ellie Mae, June 2015. Pretty recent data. So again, that 780 or better is not reality. We're going to chat about that a little bit more as well. We've got a featured home to talk about. Remember, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, got a lot on tap for you. What if I wait until next year to buy a house? Chase paying $166 million for shoddy and illegal debt collection practices. Consumer expectations toward housing and economy growing more positive. All that and more. You can reach us at our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, and on Twitter at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 0186945.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
In these uncertain times, it's getting harder and harder to find a safe and effective method of investing. If you're looking at retirement options that can provide some real security for you and your family, look no further than a reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team. Hundreds of thousands of other Americans are already taking advantage of reverse mortgages. It allows you to eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay some bills, or simply enjoy your retirement more. A government-insured reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team allows seniors to stay in their home and turn their equity into tax-free cash. To qualify, there are no credit score requirements, and remember, you continue to retain complete ownership of your home. Call 1-800-306-1990 to receive a new special edition handbook, Feature Reverse Mortgage Borrowers, plus an educational brochure absolutely free. Find out more. Call Siegel Lending Team today, 1-800-306-1990. SiegelLendingTeam.com, that's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or 1-800-306-1990.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. every one of them are wrong. We've been telling you this for 5 years now. $1,000 for anybody that can show us a completely accurate credit report. Haven't seen one yet. And I'm not saying a perfect score. I'm just saying completely accurate. Just because every one of them are wrong. I've never seen one. I've been looking at credit reports since the 90s, and I've never seen a completely accurate credit report, even for those people where I have seen the highest credit score I think I've seen is an 828 out of an 850 being a perfect score. Even that one had about 6 errors that I found on it. Consumer expectations toward housing and the economy are growing more positive. This is according to a report, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York Center for Microeconomic Data, June 2015 survey of consumer expectations. It was released on Monday. The survey of consumer expectations contains information about how consumers expect overall inflation and prices for housing, food, gas, and education to behave. It also provides insight into Americans' view about job prospects and earning growth and their expectations about future spending and access to credit. Boy, we got this mastered today. I couldn't have found this report on a better day, because we're going to be chatting a lot about credit, and we're also going to talk about spending, and we're talking about the ability of buying a house. According to the New York Fed, median home price change expectations rose from 3.3% in May to 3.5% in June. That's because a lot of people don't understand median and what that number means, and it's really an irrelevant number when it comes to almost any kind of housing, because if the population of the inventory changes, that can affect median as opposed to the actual value of a single piece of property. Always look for the FHFA pricing to see what's happening in your neighborhood. That'll give you a better indication of it, whether prices are up or down. Don't just go by an overall median number. That is the Word on Wealth segment, again, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. So I told you we were going to chat a little bit about myth versus reality. The Ask Your Mortgage Advocate segment this morning, we talked about what some of the realities are. And we're going to chat this morning with our frequent guest, Brent Humpherys, Humpherys Homes and Estates. I got to get that S on homes.
Yes.
I always seem to forget that one, because it's a tongue twister for me. I'm a little slow. But reality, we saw this article. I was glad you sent this to me and it's one of the things I talk about on a regular basis. You need professional guidance. When you go to these Zillows and the Trulias and these different online sites, you don't know if you're going to get reality or total fabrication where they're trying to sell a headline. And Brent, I almost fell off my chair when you sent me this thing about Trulia saying it takes 18 years to save for a down payment, and this is in an article in San Diego, California?
Union Tribune, July 8th. The title,
Which
Harsh
year?
Reality. This year.
Holy cow.
Harsh Reality for Young Home Buyers. Really?
Now, am I mistaken? I live in Orange County. I'm in San Diego on a regular basis, at least once a week. Isn't there like a military base around here?
Yeah, at least 2 of them.
At least 2 of them? I usually drive right by Camp Pendleton. They've got a few little gadgets out there.
A few thousand people buying homes with great VA rates, yeah.
Yeah, and VA loan down payment requirement is?
0.
0. And it takes 18 years to save for 0?
Yeah, it's interesting. There are many, many problems with the article. And by the way, I love what you said about median, because that's one of the problems I have with this article that quotes Trulia and this alleged 18-year study of saving for a down payment. There is a time, though, when median is important. It's when you're on the freeway.
Okay, yeah,
so when I
that's
came
true.
down here today, I paid very close attention to the median.
Absolutely.
It's very important for my safety.
Absolutely. You didn't want to hit it.
No, absolutely not. But, there are several problems with the article. I mean, I'll just give a 2-sentence quote. More specifically, a household earning $89,000 per year that can save 10% of its income for 18 years would then have enough money for the standard 20% down payment on a median-priced home of $589K in the county, according to Trulia. Now, my research, and I go to San Diego Association of Realtors, is that June of 2015, the numbers have just been released. $452,000 is the median price for a condo or townhome. $510 for an SFR, a single-family detached. So the numbers, the basis of the study are flawed.
So let's think about this. At $452 for the condo, $510. That was a median number, or was that averages?
That was median.
Median. Okay, so that means there's half the properties in the county are less than 510,000. And that means more than half the properties in the county qualify for a VA loan with zero down payment.
Yes.
In scanning this, I didn't see that in. I must have only got a part of this article because I didn't see anything about that in here.
Well, see, what really bothers me about this is that, I mean, I have many buyers purchasing their homes right now. Many of them are young professionals, just like the article speaks about, and who allegedly are going to be old and gray when they finally hunkered enough money into their savings to be able to purchase that piece of the American dream. And it's false. I mean, your own numbers spoke to it. The 86% of the loans being FHA in that one period, and 26% in January being 3% down or less. Let's face it, when I purchased my first home in the 90s, I purchased a smaller condo that I could then let appreciate and grow my equity.
So you mean that wasn't your dream house, your very first house that you bought, according to this article, wasn't your dream house and your forever home?
No, I was 23 years old. I paid $111,000 for it. It was a condo right by the golf course in Carlsbad. It was beautiful. That condo later resold for $460,000. So you can save really fast just by entering the real estate market and maybe sacrificing a little bit of what your dream home is, watching the market, and exit. I did an 11-month exit, a 13-month, a 15-month, a 24-month, and a 3 or 4 year hold, and grew all kinds of equity buying and selling property. I practice what I preach.
So let me ask you this.
I am gray, though.
It's okay, I don't have any hair, so we're even. So let me ask you this, being that you're the real estate guru in this marketplace.
It's very kind.
Are there $300,000 homes that one could buy in San Diego County as a starter?
Yeah, there are.
Okay. And if we do that 3.5%, and I'm not smart enough to realize what 3.5% is of $300,000, $10,000. But let's think if at $10,000, if we follow the assumption of this article that an $89,000 income could save $9,000, could they buy a $300,000 home making the down payment?
Sounds like they can.
Right? I mean, $10,000 down, they're pretty close. Now, what is it going to take somebody to... I mean, even maybe they can go to grandma or grandpa and see if they can swing them a little loan, right? I mean,
I've seen that. I've seen gift letters. I've seen husbands and wives that are like really, really close, but their debt ratios are slightly off. They go live with mom or dad. Not an ideal situation, but they save up for 3 or 4 months, and cha-ching.
So there's a quote, and I forget which one of my friends told me this, but I borrow from all my friends. It's not about the resources, it's about the resourcefulness.
I love that quote.
Right? I mean, find a way. You don't have to wait 18 years. And I would suggest calling Mr. Horn at the San Diego Tribune. I think he's the one that wrote this, Jonathan Horn, and ask him for a little bit better details on this. I'm not a big fan. I don't know about you.
I don't know Jonathan. I'm looking at the article.
No, I don't know Jonathan. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Jonathan. I'm not a fan of this article.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the article either because I believe that it's misleading to first-time buyers thinking, my goodness, we're the 4th worst city in the United States.
We didn't even get to that part. Explain the 4th worst.
Yeah, so according to the article, and this isn't Mr. Horn's fault, he's quoting Trulius, so this is Trulius' fault in my estimation. They have ranked San Diego as the 4th worst city in the United States for young professionals' ability to save for and purchase a home based upon Trulius' assumptions of average income, pricing, and their belief of a certain amount of student debt that everybody entering the market must have. I didn't have any student debt.
Well, you know something, I must admit, that is the biggest thing I see in leading a lending company. The biggest holdback I see from people is student debt. And the problem is, probably 95 out of 100 people that I talk to, they don't realize that being that the federal government took over student debt a few years back, what is our government best at right now? Handouts. Right? So you call the government, you say they've got the office there, and you say, I can't afford this, and you make your payments look really, really high, and they say, you're right, you can't afford that. And they reduce your payment and give you a 20-year plan, and if you make your payments on the reduced amount for 20 years, you've got your debt settled, but now at least you've got the roadway, the pathway to get where you want to be. That's what I'm suggesting. It's not about, again, it's resourcefulness. But nobody's out telling people to call the feds, call the Department of Education, and ask for that reduced, it's based on your economic family need.
Okay.
And you can get that reduced because there are people out there with student loan debt, but it's certainly not going to hurt somebody. And I'll tell you what, if San Diego's the fourth worst place to live in America or to buy a home in America, put me on the list, man. I'd like to have a second home down here. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, what more could you ask for? You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Chase has to pay $166 million for shoddy and illegal debt collection practices. We'll talk about it. What if I wait until next year to buy? How do I fund my business? We're going to talk about all that and more. Remember, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, or on Twitter @Ron Siegel. All of our broadcasts are on the website, Ron Siegel Radio, in the archives on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,985. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 4.75% APR, 4.812% of that payment could support a $375,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,985 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's $61,000 worth of home that you're missing out on by waiting. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 6066 and 217037.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Love this new program, Commerce for a Cause. If you're in business and you have a credit card processing system, easy for me to say, you're paying some sort of a credit card processing fee. Commerce for a Cause matches the fee, matches your terms, and returns 20% of that fee to the charitable organization of your choice, or multiple charitable organizations of your choice. So think about this. I just spoke to a car dealer yesterday that's looking at changing they're over to this service. And they're going to keep sort of an on-hand bank with Commerce for a Cause so that they can consistently say, okay, I want to give X dollars to this charity or X dollars to that charity. Increases their bottom line, helps the charities, great service. But again, you might not want to look at this one. I'm going to share, this is from Yahoo Finance. So I don't want to take all of the credit for spilling the beans about Chase paying $166 million for shoddy and illegal debt collection practices, settling and illegal debt collection activities for years, and must adhere to strict new debt collection rules. State and federal authorities announced the bank will also refund at least $50 million to consumers and agree to permanently end collection activities on more than 500,000 accounts. I wonder if those were the accounts that got hijacked. I don't know. I digress. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said, and 47 state attorneys general joined in the enforcement action, which says Chase systematically broke collection rules from 2009 to 2013. Chase, and here's I quote, Chase engaged in shoddy and illegal practices that disrupt the lives of 500,000 people, unquote, said Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan. Why do I bring that up to you? It's because I've shared this with you before. Your credit report is wrong. If you're not looking at your credit report at least once or twice a year, when it comes time to buy that house, to buy that car, to get business financing, to get furniture financing, you're going to get surprised. And when it's time to do business transactions, I'm going to suggest to you there's no room for surprises. Save those for birthdays, not for businesses. And when you talk about over 500,000 people involved in this, and this is just that which was announced from one institution. It happens all the time. You need to pay attention. We're out there watching for you. I can't check your credit report for you. You've got to do that on your own. But I suggest you do it on a regular basis. That is Your Credit Matters segment, again brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. If you want information on Commerce for a Cause, just give me a call, 800-306-1990. I will send you that information. An opportunity to chat with Patrick Vandenbosch today, VDB Associates. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you, Ron. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. Talk about, you know a little bit about business credit, just a little.
Just a little.
You probably forgot more than I know. So that's probably a good thing, and that's why we want to get you to share with us. So tell us a little bit about your company and companies.
Well, thanks so much, Ron. Thanks for having me. You know, first of all, pretty exciting times. And so a little bit of our companies. We have a couple of portfolio companies. The one I always like to talk about is a company called Ron Motor Group. We're an eco-exotic auto manufacturer, and so what we're bringing to market is a eco-friendly car. But what makes us unique is that we're using not just crowdfunding, but we're also crowd building and crowd designing, really reaching into the community and really having them participate.
You're going to have to back up for me because I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
So what is an eco-friendly car? Is that like an electric car or a Tesla or something like that?
Yeah, so yes. The short answer is yes. So it's taken all the elements. Tesla's done a great job with kind of this alternative fuel approach, being sensitive to not just the, let's call it our planet, but finding means other than fossil fuel. In our case, is taking that to a grander approach. So not just alternative fuel, but really looking at the use of materials. So we use hydrogen assist, for example. We combine that with electric motor. And so that makes for a very cleverly designed car that not only is paying attention to how fuel gets used, but at the end of the day that the secondary and tertiary uses of materials is such that we're not just filling our landfill with disposed cars.
So one of the things that I've always questioned, and you may or may not know the answer, is when my kids first started driving, we had an very old Lincoln Town Car in the family. It had next to no miles on it. It was like, we always called it the Beast or the Tank. And we knew because of all the steel in that thing that hopefully if they were like I was when I was young and first driving, you're not the safest, we're not experienced, you'd be safe in that car because there's a lot of steel around you. It wasn't economical. It wasn't consumer friendly, used a lot of gas, but it was a safe vehicle. Now I see, like they came out with the Corvettes and they were, I think, all plastic or fiberglass or something. As we keep getting more and more economical in cars, do we lose some safety value?
Well, here, look, here's the technology today, because at the end of the day, you look at one of our companies, Daytona Racing Experience, so I can tell you a lot of the technology that's developed in the racing world, but really at the end of the day, what we call the driver's cage is where you want to be protected. So you talk about that Cadillac that was this fantastic car from bumper to bumper that probably had more steel in it, probably the same amount of steel that you have in an aircraft carrier, and at the end of the day, you're not sitting in the engine compartment, you're not sitting in the trunk. And so what it really necessitated was a means of not only handling the protection of the driver and its passenger, but also the technology of identifying and predetermining that you're about to get into a crash, and that the car reacts to that, not only in alerting you, but making sure that airbags are deployed, that things like in the motor, that certain things are shut off. There's a fair amount of technology that really makes for a safer car as a result of that.
Something I guess I can understand that, because I know my wife had a Toyota Sequoia, and she was rear-ended, and it was amazing watching what happened with the front end went down and the cabin compartment went up. So I guess it's all in that technology.
It sure is. It sure is.
And is that how we're able to get more, make the cars lighter and more economical gas-wise and the alternative fuels?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is. There's so many things that, I was so appreciating you were talking about the article and kind of myth and kind of myth versus fact. And here's the reality behind it. It used to be that you look at a car and it had you had an engine, a means of propulsion, and you had a cabin to put people into it. But it's really, when you look through it, it is the material gets used, how the engine is managed, and then kind of driver behavior. And so, we drove over from Arizona, and we have a brand new Tahoe, and this car is amazing in that this is kind of a plug for GM, so I apologize. It should be a sponsor for your show, by the way.
There you
so
go.
Here's a plug for GM to become a sponsor in your show. This is a car that when you get on the freeway and you don't tax it, so in other words, you're not punching the gas, it actually goes from running 8 cylinders to 4 cylinders. So it's kind of the stuff that you go, boy, it makes sense. It just makes sense, So you work with facts, and you can make some interesting decisions.
I like that idea. So and I'm not a car guy, so I understand basically how to turn mine on, and I can put gas in. From there, I take it to somebody else to do everything. But when you say it goes from 8 cylinders to 4, that means I don't have to go to the gas station as often.
Not as often. I love that comment, by the way. I'm not a car guy. I love that comment, because everyone that says that, the first thing I say is, do you remember your first car? And 99.9% of the people always say, I sure do.
Chevy Caprice.
There you go.
Caprice Classic. It was another one of those big old boats.
There you go.
So you're one of the ventures you're into now is getting capital for businesses.
Yeah, so I was so appreciating the segment talking about lending and kind of all the things associated with it. We were very excited. There's the capital markets continue shifting, and really it's about access to liquidity and access to capital. And so the tough things is in business is that you're always looking for those capital sources. So just recently, the SEC has actually created what's called the Regulation A+, which really gives access for small businesses to get the capital. So the best way that I would explain that is if most people know it as crowdfunding through Kickstarter, and you take what's been the traditional capital markets, which is through accredited investors, which is called Reg D. If those two were to get together and have a baby, you would have Regulation A+. And so what that is crowdfunding. Now all of a sudden, the non-accredited investor has an opportunity to get behind a company and invest into it. And when I say invest into it, Kickstarter has done a great job. But here's the thing with it: if you go support a company, what you get is a T-shirt and a hat, because they can't give you any equity. With these recent regulations, now you can invest a couple $100 because you think it's a cool company, and you're going to get equity for that.
What does a non-accredited investor mean?
Yeah, so non-accredited investor, great question, Ron. So it used to be that as an accredited investor, it's kind of back to what Brett was talking about. It's kind of you had to qualify. It's kind of like you were saying earlier, Ron, you needed to have a FICO score that was 780 or greater. Well, an accredited investor, you had to have $1 million of net worth, not including your primary home. So very quickly, the population shrinks pretty dramatically on who qualifies for that. And so a non-accredited investor is someone who doesn't have that. So now, the limitation is now that they can't. The SEC doesn't want you investing more than 10% of your net worth, but it removes kind of this barrier that says, boy, if you don't have $1 million of net worth, you can't really participate in this capital market.
There's a whole lot more people with less than $1 million net worth than there is with $1 million.
Bingo. That's the opportunity.
And then. So basically, it's giving us back the ability, those of us that have less than $1 million, we can go in and, as you said, put a couple bucks into something. Yeah, and participate if we really like the idea.
Absolutely, and look, not to far be it forever for me to profess that if you put a couple $100, that you're going to get some great reward. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, there's some pretty cool companies that if you had an opportunity to get involved in it, that you could not only take your portfolio and broaden it out a little bit or balance it out properly, but some of these would actually convert into something that could be very meaningful for you.
Well, the idea there is, you still want to promote, I'm assuming, people not putting a large percentage of their net worth into one company. But if you put, if you've got, and I'm just going to use real small numbers, if you've got $100 and you put that into 20 different companies, you've spread it out enough that you don't have a lot of risk. I mean, maybe you're going to lose that money, but if one or two become Apple, it makes up for all the rest that didn't. We're going to chat about that more when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, what if I wait until next year to buy a house? I've also got a featured home to share with you. Remember, you can reach me anytime. The off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694552.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero program. I love this program. I guess when I create them, I can love them too, right? Well, here's this one. Retired, active, and reserve military, firefighters, law enforcement, teachers, nurses, discounts for all of you through the agents that are in real estate agents involved with us, discounts through the lending partners. The title companies cannot give discounts, but they have special rates that are below the published rates. I don't know if that's a discount or not. We've got some attorneys, credit repair people, all there to give you special deals if you are registered with the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero program. Question today is, what if I wait until next year to buy a house? I don't know if there's a button on my machine here that, this is the one.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Yeah, don't wait till next year. Why would you want to do that? That would not make any sense. Think about this. Yes, interest rates could go down, but the likelihood is that they will go up. If you believe the Federal Reserve Chairman, Janet Yellen, she said that they're going up. If they don't go up, who cares? Restructure your loan, not a problem. Real estate prices, they've been going up for a long time. Yes, we did see 2008, 2009 when prices went down. But the best way to develop net worth in your household is to be in the real estate game. So do not wait until next year. If the interest rates go up as they say, if the property values go up as they say, if you buy a median priced home, there we go with that median priced home again, just in the numbers that we can share with you, $216.96 per month increase by waiting. Now, I don't know about you.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait that long. I don't want to waste that money. And I could then buy that bigger house. Brent, we were talking about that earlier. You can buy a bigger house if you just get in the game, use that appreciation, go buy another house, or buy a second house and rent the first one out. Isn't that the way you build net worth?
Yeah. And is there a moment for a political comment?
Always a moment.
Did not Hillary Clinton yesterday say that she's vowed to raise taxes if she's president?
Does that surprise anybody?
Doesn't surprise me at all. But is you're giving more and more of your money to the government, home ownership is a great way to have the interest deduction.
Absolutely. Or
keep more of it.
Or depreciation or any of the others. Brent, you sent me an article here that I had to just ask you quickly about. Millennial homebuyers from limp to standing at attention. What the heck are you talking about this time, buddy?
Well, first of all, Ron, that's not my title.
Okay.
And after I sent it to you, I read the last paragraph. Apparently, Australians did a study that if you are a homeowner, you're going to have a better sex life. So,
was there? How many people were studied in this article?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm blushing, but that's great because no one sees me right now.
But we're on video, buddy. It's got
that's right.
Full on there.
Turn on the air conditioner. It's hot in here.
Your face is matching the ESPN logo. What's that all about, bud?
I love it.
Okay, well, if you want a copy of the article, I would be happy to send it to you, or just give me a call and I'll put you in touch with Brent and he can explain that to you. He's the expert on this one. I don't write them. I just report them. Yeah.
Here's the quotable part. Despite the economic and financial challenges young adults have braced since the recession, the millennial generation represented the largest share of recent buyers, according to a report from the National Association of Realtors. So there you go, Trulia.
That makes sense to me.
The fastest moving segment.
Better get our featured home in here today as well. So brought to us, Featured Home by Paula Barrett. Back on the market. If you're looking or listening to us overseas, China, We know this is where you're buying 5375 Camino de Bryant in Yorba Linda, California. They've got a great school over there. I think that's why they're buying there. I don't know why they came up with this price point. $1,649,988. Now, if you get to a house that's over $1,600,000, do you need that extra dollar at the end? It's got to be some logic to it. I don't know it, but I did look just for the fun of it to see what the team could do on a loan for this project or this property. Think about this. If you qualify, 3.5% interest rate, 3.551 APR, $7,500 a month. I'm not going to tell you about the 88 cents on that. Principal and interest. Great view. 5 bedrooms, 4 full baths, a half bath, Vista Bel Air view home in Bryant Ranch. Gets you into that Yorba Linda School District, too, and that Yorba Linda High School is amazing. Can't imagine having a high school that's got a view that's out of this world, but that is the property. That is the featured home today. If you want some information on it, give me a call or go to mbelinks.com/prop0714. You can get the full website, and we'll have it right there on facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio as well. I continue also on our conversation today with Patrick Vanden Bossche. We're chatting a little bit about alternative sources of financing. And I love this topic, Patrick, because there's the way of America, this country, in my opinion, was founded on the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And maybe so many, we hear about, this tragic story in San Francisco, but we hear about immigrants coming to this country legally. And in many instances, they're living on top of their residence is on top of a business. And they do whatever they can to scrape by and come up with a way of starting a business and growing it. And at some point in time, we just need to get some extra capital infusion. And it sounds to me like that's really what you've tapped into here.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, look, here's the reality behind it. There's a lot of capital that's available in the market, but here's the problem with it. It's like kind of like Brett or yourself, Ron, making available that you've got money to lend, but nobody qualifies for it. And so for me, it creates kind of constipation, so to speak, in the market. Yeah. So to me, what the SEC has done, really as part of the Jobs Act, this is really what it's intended to do, is really start putting capital to work and provide that kind of that X-lax for that economy.
Wow.
So you've got all these promotions today. We've got GM now has got in here, and we've got X-lax in here.
Ron, I'm doing my part. I'm trying to reach out to see on how some of these potential sponsors could participate.
Absolutely.
And how we could weave this in so cleverly.
Absolutely. So what kind of companies are eligible for this?
First of all, it's any small company can kind of qualify. I mean, there's a process to it, but the fun part of it about is if you decide to go down this road, the SEC has really set this up to do what's called the test of waters period, which has never been done, right? So now you can go to market and say, well, look, I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm going to have a promotion, and you know what, market, public, John Q. Public, give me an indication if you're interested, and then based on that, I'll do that for about 2 or 3 months and see if it makes sense for me to take the next step. So what a wonderful way for a business to better understand if it stands a chance to go down this road without making that commitment and putting additional duress on the business.
And I could share personal experience. 5 years ago, I decided that I was going to start doing a radio show. And when I would go out and talk to people about it, it was a vision. And it was very, very difficult to sell a vision. I mean, I could articulate it, but people couldn't see it. And what you're giving somebody the opportunity of is saying, okay, I have this vision, and now you don't need to put a huge amount of money into it. And then once you see whether the vision is reality, now you can take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Well spoken. I couldn't have said it any better. That's absolutely right.
So it's like an incubator.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And look, I mean, the story I tell people, I was talking to someone just last week. Can you imagine back in 70s sitting around in the garage with Wozniak and Jobs when they were talking about what appeared to be kind of this funky computer, and you said, well, this kind of stands a chance, but I'll put a couple $100 into it. Those are great opportunities. Brett and I were talking earlier about his Tesla, right? Again, with those engineers sitting up in Silicon Valley when they were thinking about that. Or you take Uber when they're sitting in San Francisco at the tech tech conference, right? So this is an opportunity to not only kind of put your toe in the water and participate in potentially an alternative, call it the capital markets, but you hear an idea and you go, my goodness, I'm willing to take a little bit of a flyer on that. I'm going to put a couple $100 into that and see what happens.
I think it's a great idea. Is there any limitation to the kind of company that can come to you?
No, it's going to be individuals, and look, in this tier 1 that we're doing with our company, it's limited up to $10 million, but that leaves plenty of headroom for a whole bunch of people to come in at $200 to $500, and so we're excited about that happening. And if you're interested in any of that, please email me at ronmotorgroup@outlook.com, and we'd love to get you information about that.
Beautiful. Appreciate you sharing the information again, and we're going to get that information onto our websites as well. If you want to meet Patrick, just give me a call, 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch. If you're looking for a new home, I can put you in touch with Brent. I know where to find him as well, Humpherys Homes and Estates. Got a lot of great information today. And don't forget, if you've missed any part of our broadcast, never fear, we're taking care of you. Ron Siegel Radio in the archives. The shows are there usually within a couple days. They're on YouTube. I've got a face for radio, so I put the back of my head there generally. Be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And remember my mantra that I borrowed. Make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Our house in the middle of our street, our house.
At this airport, all music facilities are electric at the
Hi, it's